Welcome to the second part of our visit to PLT Wellness Mountain Resort. For those that haven't watched part 1, I would strongly recommend that you go back and follow up on it before watching this video. And now, let's continue the retirement budget talk from part 1. Can you live in the Philippines with no more than 1,000 Canadian dollars per month, which is about 738 US dollars? Sure you can, but barely scraping by and risking exposure to unexpected emergencies. You will most likely have to give up on your Western lifestyle and live like a local. If that makes you happy, then go for it. But that wouldn't be something I would recommend. When we retire, after a lifetime of hard work, we expect to enjoy the remaining time of our lives and leave far behind those times when we were younger and had to make so many sacrifices, struggling to get ahead in life. Of course, taking a short vacation anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks here in the Philippines will give you a better picture about costs of living and what is even more important, in my opinion, if the Philippines way of life is really meant for you. And what I mean by this is that you should live the everyday life here in the Philippines that you will be part of once you are here, such as being woken up in the early morning by a rooster or a dog barking from the neighbor's house, getting used to the extreme heat, the extended rainy and typhoon season, or the occasional electrical blackout. Boots on the ground, as they say, before you make a big decision in your life about selling off all of your possessions and abandoning the West for this paradise will prove to be a very wise move on your behalf. If you plan on spending more than 4 weeks in the Philippines, you will need to make sure that you are holding a visa that allows you to stay for the time that you have chosen. You really don't want to end up blacklisted for re-entry in the future. So at the time of your trip, check on the latest requirements, just like you would when traveling to anywhere else in the world. Make sure to have at least a couple of credit and ATM cards for access to cash from 2 different banks, along with some cash as well, in case you run into any emergency. Remember, that there are no government social safety nets here in the Philippines if you run into trouble. If you don't have family, friends, or a girlfriend that you can really count on, then you are basically on your own. So be prudent. The cash that you bring, make sure it's high denomination bills, 50s and 100s. No small bills, and make sure that your cash is also minty new bills. They usually won't accept old, bent, and torn bills. If you're not taking a jeepney to move around and instead will use a taxi or a tricycle, then make sure to provide the driver with your destination address and get the quote for the trip before you even start. It will avoid you being overcharged due to your lack of knowledge related to the costs. It will also help you if ahead of the trip you ask locals about the costs related to your transportation, so that you will have an idea to aid you when picking a driver. So, when should you retire? I guess everyone asks this question, no matter what part in the world we live in. And probably the answer is always the same everywhere. When you can replace your working income that you require to live on with an equivalent positive cash flow of income that does not require you to work. Could be retirement, real estate, or stock market investments, savings, pension, and any other sources that will provide you with the much needed income without you having to work so that you can retire. Analyzing your different options around the world that you feel comfortable with will certainly provide you with different budgets that you can assess if suitable for you or not. Despite the fact that the overall cost of living in the Philippines is relatively low when compared to the West, keep in mind that it will be a far cry from costing you next to nothing. After all, our world is getting more and more expensive, probably being driven by problems such as wars, climate change, growing population, and environment pollution, among others. So expect to pay, here in the Philippines, your fair share as well. Many fail to grasp that time is the most precious commodity that each one of us have in a very limited manner. As time moves on and passes by, we have less and less of it. is another way to look at it. Each year has 365 days. Let's say that if according to your current age, you have a life expectancy of another 15 years. That would be 5,475 sunsets. Are you ready to make the best out of your last 5,475 sunsets? How will you spend them? At last, I would like to mention one more thing. This was a budget and tips that have worked for me. I am glad to share them with you, and if they help you in any way, it will make me even more happy. But it doesn't mean that it will all work for you as well. Remember that you and I are different like everyone else is, and what works for me might just not work for you. You really need to get your own feet wet before you swim. If you like this video, I will be very thankful to you if you subscribe, like, and leave your comments below.